This is episode 64 of the Out of the Minds podcast. I'm Sean Oakley.
And I'm Sam Cooper, here trying to bait Sean into saying the wrong name of a ship so Minty can make a card.
No, that only works when I'm doing my games. Because yours I can just sit back and commentate on.
But speaking of, we have the second of the games I've played recently. I'm playing another Droid Swarm with a slightly different flavour. I decided to go old school, mostly. A couple of new stuff. There's a couple of new school things, but I went old school, and I'm against fellow Tin Squadron member, Jon Vicary, who hails from Plymouth, and away we go. And he's brought the Resistance. I believe this is our league game.
I believe
for
you're
the
right.
Tin League. And so I'll run through my list quickly. We've got Captain Sear with Kraken and Impervium Plating. A I-3 Separatist bomber with chaff cloud missiles and landing struts. DFS 081, the Vulture droid at I-3, whose ability reads an ally at range 0 to 1 can spend a calculate whilst defending and change all crit results to hit results. Which is it's useful. I've used it. I can't deny the ability. It's not the end be all end all.
I'd imagine it's good on salvage mission.
Yes, it's good on salvage, and it's also good against natural crits because it means that you have to actually deal the full amount of damage. There's no happy little direct hit at the end to kill a Vulture droid, which is pretty sweet. And he has thread tracers and grappling struts. Then I have 3 I-3 Separatist drones with grappling struts and Discord missiles, and then 2 I-3 Separatist drones with no upgrades at all except for grappling struts. So a good old school Sear Swarm. Everyone loved those when they were around.
Yeah, sure. I used to love flying against them.
And what John has brought to the table is, I guess, Resistance Salad.
Yeah.
We've got Commander Poe in the T-70 with R4 Astromech, Heroic, Ferrosphere Paint, and Proton Torpedoes. Chewbacca in the YT whatever. Actually, I actually can't remember what the name of the Millennium Falcon's official name is. YT 1300?
YT 1300.
That's the one. YT 1300 Chewbacca with Novice Technician, Ray Gunner. What's the rear little blaster turret called?
The
illicit turret.
No, it's not
Hot shot blaster turret or something.
Yeah, hot shot.
Notorious and Ray's Millennium Falcon, the title. I think it is the Hot Shot Blaster.
I'm sure it's like Hot Shot Tail Blaster.
Yeah, that's the one. Hot Shot Tail Blaster sounds right. We've got Wilsa Teshlo in the Y-Wing, and I do not know the name of that Resistance Astromech. It's the one that gives you rotate into a calculate.
Oh, is that elf? I don't know. I'll look it up in a second. It is right. Hot Shot Tail Blaster is the
The illicit.
The illicit.
Chewbacca
Sorry,
has.
I was trying to get.
Yeah.
It is L4ER5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coolly, L4ER5
does have an ability as well as giving you a rotate into a white calculate. At the start of the engagement phase, you may transfer 1 calculate token to a friendly ship in your firing arc.
Nice. And Wilsa's ability is, after you perform an attack, if the defender was dealt a face-up damage card, the defender gains 1 strain token unless it chooses 1 non-recurring energy from one of its equipped upgrades and loses that energy. So, Discord missiles, Impervium Plating.
You've got a way of safeguarding against crits, so that's not likely to be an issue.
But if I eat a pilot crit, then I lose an Impervium Plating charge anyway and take the crit.
Yeah, that's true.
But a nasty ability like Discord Missile, I've got energy charges that I can lose should I get dealt crits by this Y-Wing. But yes, so we've got the Astromech, we've got a bomblet generator, an engine upgrade, targeting computer, and an ion cannon turret. So standard Resistance Y-Wing stuff.
Put as many upgrades as you can to get those free calculates.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we've got Kaz in the Fireball with R9G8? Reroll droid? Predator droid?
M9.
M9G8, Proton Rockets, Heroic, and Kaz's Fireball. And he has, for the sake of the stream and the podcast, he has already taken a card out and put it next to him as of speaking.
So anyone who doesn't know M9's ability, it's basically when a ship that you have locked, I can't remember the exact wording, attacks or defends. I think it's attacks or defends. Might just be attacks actually. You may
No, it's R68. R68.
oh
Predator droid.
all right. Sorry, you sorry. Well, yeah. All right, I'm gonna go back and edit that out. So yeah, anyone who doesn't know R68, it's basically Super Predator. So Kaz will be able to re-roll his attack dice for the whatever amount for whatever bullseyes you're in from all of John's ships. So if you're in all 4 bullseyes, he gets 4 rerolls.
Nice. Not that Kaz is going to be rolling 4 dice that often, I hope. He says, looking at the proton rocket.
I mean, yeah.
But that's where we are. And we've rolled Scramble the Transmissions. I got priority after like 4 rerolls, by the way. We tied 4 times on priority for this opening turn. And I placed my objective as far to the left as I can and as far away from John's board edge as possible, so as close as I could. And John did a similar on the my right-hand side, not quite as far over to the edge of the board, but essentially there's a pretty straight line in the middle of the objectives.
Yeah, I'd say as the clock's looking at it, you're looking at just gone 3:45.
Yeah. And so obstacles-wise, I've bought the 3 Mandalore rocks, and John has brought one of the newer glass clouds, and then 2 of the, I believe they're Force Awakens rocks. Could be wrong about one of them, but they're older rocks. So we've got lots of rocks and a gas cloud. And so I immediately grabbed the gas cloud and I 2 and 2 it in the top left-hand corner as far away from me as possible.
But
because I don't want nothing to do with that.
They're all medium-sized rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no large rocks in there, no tiny rocks in there.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is I use the Pride of Mandalore ones because I think they look cool, and I don't feel like I need the largest rocks with my lists.
Fair enough. Droids do it on debris as well, right?
Yes, they do.
Because I'd argue the Pride of Mandalore debris would be, or certainly one of them, be really suited to droid lists because it's like quite long and thin, like stretched.
Yeah.
It's almost a triangle wedge.
I absolutely agree. The counterpoint I have to use, I think the Pride of Mandalore rocks are very cool.
I mean, they do look cool.
And that is my entire reason for bringing them. I just like them. I can't help it. I like them, and they don't detract from my list, so they get in every single time.
All right,
but anyway, John then places one of my rocks towards the center, as close to his board edge as possible. I then place one of my rocks just below the center objective, so a droid can go land on it. He puts the last of my rocks 2 and 2 in the right-hand side on his side. So we've now got a triangle where the base is away from me. So we've got 3 obstacles along John's board edge and 1 just below the center objective. So I grab one of John's rocks and I put it directly below the far right objective, so a droid can go and land on it if I need to. And then John 2 and 2 is the final rock in my bottom left corner. So we've got quite a lot of open space, but as far as I'm concerned, I've got rocks I can land on and use to a certain extent. And they're in relevant positions.
Now, interestingly, so you place the gas cloud 2 and 2, as we're looking at it, John's left.
Yeah.
And then John placed the other 2 rocks on his edge of the board.
Yes.
That's interesting, because I think that really shuts down options for Chewie.
Yeah, because I thought what I thought John was thinking was that it just gets rocks out of the way, and so once he gets past it, he has a lot more space. Because once he gets past his line, there's a lot of open space that Chewie can use. And this isn't Rey, so he doesn't have to care about the front arc as much. It just has to be the turret arc with the Rey gunner.
I just think it was me personally. That middle one I would have put slightly forward to give more options, but I mean, obviously, my assumption is his plan is to jet down the side and then assume the engage happens near the 2 rocks next to objectives.
Yeah. So again, I have priority, and it's just all me first. So I put Captain Sear basically if you're looking at an X-Wing board, I put Captain Sear on the back of my board, range 3 from my left-hand side. So far enough that I can fit all the droids to Captain Sear's left. Because remember, Captain Sear is I2. So he's flying before all of my droids, which makes things a little awkward for hiding Captain Sear from the enemy. Because I have to place him far back enough that I can move and meander, but
Does
close enough that he still affects the droids.
does Seer's ability have a range?
0 to 3, so it's a big range. But I also want Kraken to be. I don't want it. I don't want him to be just in range of the droids. I need him to be like, like in range that he can move, but also with enough distance, and also so that the droids can help him when he gets jumped on. Because everyone jumps on Captain Sear.
I mean, there's a reason for that.
Yeah. Then basically my droids then form a great big block towards the left of Captain Sear, all the way to the far left hand corner. I put the bomber in like the center of my. I form a 3x3 formation and I attack a vulture droid on the end with the intention of he's going to go land on a rock and just rotate and be himself. So I have a 3x2 formation of vultures. Two of the front vultures have discords. The bomber is in the front, and then I line the back two up with just regular vultures. The third Discord vulture is the guy on the far right. He's going to go. He's basically staying on the front row, going to go land on the rock, and hopefully just join the rest of the vultures as they fly. So I've got quite a wide formation. It's not perfectly 3x2. Or I'm just absolutely terrible at counting, as I have played the video on slightly, and I remembered, oh yeah, this list has a lot of vultures. There is a solid 3x2 and an extra dude sticking out. DFS 081 is filling the gap.
Just out of curiosity, why did you set up on the left and not the right? Because for viewers who aren't watching, the left-hand side is the one that A, the objective is further away from you, and B, is the objective that doesn't have a rock next to it.
So the reason for this is I wanted to dissuade Jon for deploying on the left, because my thought was I can jet up this board, this is scramble, so I can claim that objective, and then I can turn in and try and make it so that the fight happens over the two objectives on the right. Whereas if I deployed on the right-hand side, yes, I could have castled on the two objectives, but I feel like I would have incentivized Jon to deploy on the left, and he'd get a free objective to start ticking up points. That was my thought process.
That's fair. I just feel like Jon, especially with the fact that he's got Poe and Chewie, has enough speed to just do that, but on the right-hand side anyway.
But anyway, possibly my thought process was the fight was going to take place on the right-hand side, with me enclosing on Jon, so he doesn't have as much room to just jet past me.
That's fair.
Whereas if I went up the right-hand side, the way I see the fight happening there, it would fight around the middle, because I wouldn't have an easy place to stop and rotate a bunch of my ships. Because when I come from the left-hand side, I hit the middle rock, and a bunch of my ships can stop and rotate, and then I hit the far right rock, and I can stop and rotate. I can sort of castle on the right-hand side of the board. Whereas if I'm going from right to left, it's a little more awkward because I'll leave ships behind and not be in the fight. Like, that's how I imagined it.
That's fair.
It's as simple as that. I just wanted to dissuade Jon from.
I was curious because oddly, you said, if he does line up for a joust, I think there's a good chance you win that with that.
I mean, I'm happy for him to joust me, but I didn't think he'd take it. So I was like, well, where do I want him? If I know he's not going to joust, where do I want him? Yeah. Although I honestly think jousting isn't that terrible for him.
I think it's bad, but I think it depends on how many droids he kills.
Yeah. Also, it depends on how good the range is, because literally this sort of joust is what that chaff cloud is for.
Yeah.
But I will continue on, because Jon basically spreads out across from the middle to the right hand side. So I do succeed. Jon does avoid the joust. Wilsa weirdly does kind of joust me. She's deployed near the middle of the board, but on like Jon's right hand side, so my left. So just to the left of the center objective. So like feasibly in range if I were to move really fast, like after turn 2. Then Kaz and Chewie deploy on the far, in Jon's left hand, so for the viewers, the far right hand side, opposite my droid swarm, kind of where I wanted them to be. And I believe Poe then just sits on the other side of Chewie in the far corner. And for anyone who's watching the video, Jon is realizing he's made a mistake with that rock, and that he's he placed the rock 2 and 2 in my bottom left corner to try and force me to come in, where he's like, actually, I should have placed it further up to make it more awkward for you to turn into the board around it, because right now I could just jet straight past it and not care. But we are into the game. I have one priority. Priority basically doesn't matter. It's just Wilser, I believe. Wilser is Wilser's I4. Priority doesn't matter. I'm I2 and I3, so it's all me than all John. Captain Sear does a 2 straight and focuses. The far right Vulture Droid does a 2 straight, lands on the rock and calculates, and then everyone else, I do believe, is doing a 4 straight, which is the fastest white move a bomber can do, and they'll all calculate. Wilser does I want to say that's a 2 bank.
Yeah. Maybe a 3.
Oh no, that's a 2 straight and a 2
and
straight.
boost.
She boosts and gets a free calculate.
And that is why he'll have set her up there.
Yeah, and boosts away from the droid swarm. Luckily, Kaz does a 5 as a slam of some sort. I believe a 3 straight and a 3 straight slam. Chewie does a 2 straight and focuses, and Poe does a 4 straight with the wings closed, and I believe he just focuses, but like doesn't do anything with the token. So here we are. I Kraken 3 calculate, so the bomber has a calculate, and 2 of my Discord missile vultures have a calculate, so I'm pretty much good to go. And I'm already in my head thinking, right, we turn in.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was pretty sure a 3 hard on the front vulture on the far left will leave me in range to claim the objective, and then I can just go and.
Yeah, I was just thinking that yellow should crack range on that. Already got a calculate. It also you're turning in there kind of leaves blue almost in formation as well for moving forward. So yeah, I like that. And then my assumption is Sear does a 1 hard or something to the right.
I believe Sear does a 1 hard here, if not like some sort of 1 bank.
Yeah.
I was a little mindful that Sear is looking to be a little bit on his own at this point, and there's a Poton torpedo potentially staring at him. And this 2.5 Captain Sear doesn't like Poton torpedoes.
Yeah, I mean, I have to be. If it was me, I think I would have considered setting up Sear just slightly further away, so you can 1 hard towards your swarm the first turn, and then they're basically going to move forward to give him space to come in behind, and he shouldn't ever really be out of range 2 of them that way.
Yeah, like I definitely could have been a little bit safer, but for me, I was like, I just want to make sure Captain Sear can move, and I don't have to worry about how fast the droids go for the next turn, because obviously Captain Sear is always going to be moving before them.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that I don't like think, "Ooh, time to pounce with the vultures." Oh, but Captain Sear had to do a 1 bank to not bump. And therefore, my vulture droid has done like 5 straights and are on the edge of range.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we go to dials, so I'll let this run a little bit. Like, yes, I'm just thinking, okay, it's turn in time. We're going from a 3x2 road to a 2x3 column. We're going to claim that a top objective, and if Wilsa goes slow, she's probably in range of something. So I win priority. It doesn't matter. Captain Sear does a 1 hard, and I believe that is a focus.
Yeah.
Then the Vulture droids start doing a series of, I believe, 3 hards and 1 hards to flip the thingy. The bomber takes a target lock onto Wilsa, and then everyone else calculates, except for my topmost droid who claims the objective. The droid on the rock rotates and calculates. So my entire group is looking towards the right, ready to hopefully catch out the nasty resistance as they come in close. Wilson does a 1 straight and claims the center objective. Kaz does a 1 hard and claims the far right objective. Chewie does a 1 bank and focuses. And Poe does a 2 bank, keeps the wings closed, and barrel rolls in towards the center. Yeah, and so here actually, I talked to John about this later. This is where we basically like John makes the big mistake of his game. Essentially, is lining Poe to come into the board.
Yeah. Like,
because if he hasn't barrel rolled, he's got a pretty good lineup on Captain Sear. Well, or at least he's threatening Captain Sear. Now he's not so threatening.
Yeah, I would have considered keeping Poser. He can come has the threat of coming around the bottom of that rock and catching Sear, or being able to turn in.
Yeah,
like
Because currently, as it is, I have one giant target to aim my swarm at. Whereas if Poe was barrel rolled out or hadn't barrel rolled in, I have the giant target in Chewie and Kaz. But then there's also Poe coming around the side, and at some point I'd have to split fire.
Yeah. And then suddenly the droids become a lot less
Yeah.
impactful when you're only getting, 2 shots from them.
But I do have range 3 onto Wilsa with my Separatist Bomber, so we take it. I roll 2 blanks, I spend the lock into 2 hits. Wilsa rolls Evade Focus and takes a damage. Inexplicably, a Vulture droid also has range 3 onto Wilsa.
Oh yeah, okay. For listeners, that's Pixel on the far corner of the range.
So I roll 2 natural hits, Wilsa blanks out, shields down.
Yeah, of course. It's always the way when it's a lucky shot.
Yeah. So it's 2-1 to John at the minute because he's got 2 points from the objectives. But we move on. But next turn is looking to be nasty for possibly both of us because the shooting is going to really start. And Wilson is already shields down after 2, I'm going to call kind of crappy shots. Let's be real.
I mean, I'd argue the hyenas.
The bombers was fine.
But yeah,
target lock and a million calculates. That's fine. John wins priority. It doesn't matter. We have no initiative overlaps. So Captain Sear does a 1 bank and barrel rolls to the right and links it to a focus because my prediction is now that Poe is there, he's banking in or going straight, and so I'm like, let's try and keep Captain Sear out on the flank a little bit, so I can present this giant wad of Vulture droids as a threat. I also wanted to make sure I stayed out of beyond range 2 of the Vulture droid on the rock because he's about to hop off it, and I really don't want to bump.
Yeah.
So my bomber 4 straights lands on the center rock, claims the center objective. By the way, for Kraken. Again, the bomber and the 2 front-facing droids of my new formation kept their calculates, which is 1 Discord Vulture and 1 non-Discord Vulture, and the bomber. So my topmost Vulture does a 4 straight, barrel rolls to the left and links it to a calculate, just so he can avoid the center rock and keep an eye on Kaz.
I was going to say, I like that because that stops Kaz doing probably a 3 straight slam, 3 straight to go past.
Yeah. And then everyone else basically does a 4 straight and calculates, as we are essentially most of my storm is barreling around the underside of the center rock, and the Vulture on the rock 2 straights off and calculate. So I've got loads of calculates. I just need someone to shoot,
and it doesn't look like there's an easy way for
so
John
Will's
to
3 banks.
Flank.
So Will's 3 banks in front of my swarm. John did. He said at the time he called that I would go a little slower. He didn't think I would yeet.
I mean, I have to admit, and I was going to say I didn't think you'd yeet quite so fast, but
so here we are. Wilson has 3 banked into front of my entire swarm.
Oh, what do you do here? I mean, I don't think you. I'm not sure you move. At this point, I think you possibly accept that there's a good chance she dies and lock into a calculate.
Yeah, so Wilson takes a lock on one of my Discord vultures and gets a free calculate thanks to targeting computer. Kaz does a 3 straight and focuses, so he's lined up a nice bullseye onto on my vulture droid with that proton rocket. Chewie does a 2 hard to the right, angling up towards John's edge of the board and pointing the turret at my swarm and getting out of the way, I think is fair.
Yeah, and to be fair, he's got nice space for a 2 hard left on the next turn.
Exactly, and takes a focus.
The likelihood is Wilson dies, so he'll get to double tap.
So Poe does a 3 bank in and is in front of my swarm, but behind Kaz and Wilson, there are other targets. And I believe takes a target lock focus onto my Separatist bomber.
Interesting choice, because that's likely obstructed.
Yeah. So I think John's plan was if he can kill the bomber, we don't have to worry about the chaff that is looking kind of spicy next turn.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So my topmost Vulture thinks he's about to die to a proton rocket, so launches a Discord missile at Kaz. I land it on the front because maybe Kaz decides not to shoot his proton rocket. It's kind of where I'm at this point. and I launch another probe droid out of one of the vultures. I land it onto the back of Poe. Because I couldn't put it on the front of Poe, and my firm belief is that Wilson is going to be dead without the Discord.
Yeah, no, I agree that, like, worst case scenario, you plink one of those shields off, and
exactly.
Yeah, if you put it on Wilson, I would have had words.
Yeah. So Poe has an obstructed shot into my Separatist bomber and is launching a proton torpedo. Rolls 3 hits and a blank. Target locks the blank into a focus. Doesn't spend the focus. And just protons fair. Into a crit. So I'm sad because I cannot use DFS 081 because it is, whilst you defend, I mod his dice before he mods his, so that hit going to a crit doesn't work. So he does spend the focus for 3 hits and a crit. Possibly. I roll 2 blanks and a focus, so I spend a calculate for an evade. I take hit, crit, and the crit is a direct hit.
Oh, so he's almost
4 damage on a Separatist bomber.
Okay.
Sean.
Yeah.
Would you believe me if I told you that bomber doesn't die this round?
Yes, actually, to be honest. Because
no. I think it does die, but it takes like it takes like the rest of his turn.
Oh, okay. Like, everyone's got obstructed shots into him, and Wilson locked someone else.
Yeah. So Wilson goes range 1 into the Separatist bomber.
Okay.
With the ion cannon, because only needs to get 1 through.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Rolls hit, focus, spends a calculator for 3.
Oh god, you're just gonna
2 evades and a focus, so I nick a calculate and have 3. Separatist bomber is still alive.
You're gonna network calculate your way out of this, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. Chewie, range 2 obstructed, spends a focus for 3. I get 2 evades and a calculate, 2 evades and a focus, so I check for networked and I steal a calculate for 3.
Oh god.
Kaz, range 1 into the bomber. My vulture lived. It didn't need a proton rocket. Range 1, Kaz bonus, 4 dice. Not in Poe's bullseye, unfortunately, so no rerolls. It rolls 4 hits out of hand, and I roll 3 blanks. So the bomber does die, but it took his entire turn of shooting.
And Kaz is taking a crit. Poe's taking a crit.
Yeah.
Well, Poe's taking a shield, but to be fair, if you trade that bomber for Wilson.
Oh, absolutely! Happy days. So now it comes to my turn. I've lost the bomber. This is all right. Like that was a much better turn than I was expecting. I was semi expecting to have lost maybe 1, maybe 2 more vultures, because I feel like if Wilson and Chewie shoot into one of the vultures, good odds on dying.
Yeah.
So I go over to DFS 081 and I fire a thread tracer at Wilson.
Interesting.
And I get hit crit. So everyone gets locks. And I explained to John, okay, everyone's in range, everyone gets a lock. I'm going to start shooting at Wilson, and I will just acquire the blocks as they go, and we'll see what happens. Because there are a lot of ships, and there's going to be a lot of tokens that I have to sort out. So that's what I do on the stream for anyone watching on YouTube. So I basically start shooting with vultures into Wilson. Got a couple of range 1 shots. I get 2 hits after a target looking to calculate. I put 2 damage through. I got a range 2 shot. Hit crit out of hand. I put 2 more damage through. Wilson's dead.
Okay. Which is why I was a little surprised you thread tracered.
So for me,
I suppose it guarantees.
I just really wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to just because I'd lost the droid. I felt I needed to trade, and so for me, just fire the thread tracer. DFS is like he's only got a normal shot. Like, I would rather make sure everyone gets locks, and then I can thread trace someone else next round.
I suppose thread trace is 3 dice against 1. You've got to calculate. Yeah. That's reasonably certain you get 1 through.
Like, in theory, it should absolutely certainly get through, and that just makes sure the rest of the 2 dice shots don't just whiff.
That's fair.
And so Wilson is gone.
And how many have you got left to shoot?
I believe I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe I've got 5 more shots. But Chewbacca gets to do a thing. He takes a target lock on one of my vulture drones and takes a shot. Range 3. He gets 2 hits and a crit out of hand. I roll 2 evades and take a crit. I believe it is weapons failure.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, I believe it is weapons failure on one of my vulture droids. But he's already fired his Discord missile, so who cares about him? And then basically the rest of my turn is I take pot shots at Poe and don't do a whole lot. To be honest.
All right, fair.
Yeah, it literally I just fire a bunch of times at Poe. Captain Sear shows that he is the greatest by rolling 3 blanks.
Yep.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. Then Kaz takes a crit, which I forget what it actually is. I feel like I can't remember it. And Poe loses a shield. I forget what the crit Kaz took is. I don't think it matters very much. And we go back to dials, and all of a sudden, it's 6-6.
Yes.
But I'm feeling kind of happy with where my stuff is. Because Kaz, he goes straight or he goes right. Chewie goes right or he goes left. Like, either goes right and is gone, or goes left and
I mean,
is in the center.
you say Kaz goes right or goes straight. 3 bank to the left.
Yeah, maybe. But so let me continue with in my head. Kaz goes straight or he goes right. Poe goes right or goes into my death swarm, and so all my swarm has to do is basically turn up, and I'm covering most of those angles.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, he could 3 bank, but my droid swarm is about to do like 1 hards and I think possibly 1 hards and a couple of 2 hards just to try and turn up in there and cover the angles, and that way I'd be hoping I'd be blocking stuff, and I think Sear just does a 2 straight and tries to be annoying.
Also, if Kaz obviously has the probe droid on the front of him.
Yeah.
If Kaz takes another crit, that's going to shut down his ability.
Yep. Absolutely is.
Chase Sear after him.
No, Sear is boring this game. Sear doesn't do a whole lot. Well, no, he does do a whole lot. He has Kraken, and that is his entire existence, pretty much. I think I used Septus's ability like once. That doesn't matter. The fact that I have it is what matters. So what I do actually is I call that Chewie's 2 harding in, and so I go for the hero play.
You block. Do you try and block him on the rock?
I try to block him on the rock, but the only thing that scuppers me is that my droid up there is stressed, and so can't quite do it.
Say a 3 bank left of the barrel roll would have been.
Yeah, unfortunately, I cut 3 bank is red on droids.
Yeah. All right.
So what I do, I believe I do a 3 hard. I either do a 3 hard and sit there, or I do a 2 hard and barrel roll, trying to block him as he turns in. But Chewie wins priority. It doesn't matter. It's all me. So Captain Sear does a 2 straight boost and focuses, just trying to. If Poe for some reason went slow, just trying to get in the way. Yes. Oh, I forgot this happened. This is okay. So the plan. This was the plan. Is Pink is doing a 2 bank onto the middle rock, trying to put it like that way. Green was going to 5 straight over to the far rock, claim the objective. And then red and brown and blue were all going to turn up and claim stuff. And then I thought, hang on a minute. Green's already used his Discord Green is in a much better place to turn up. Brown is kind of useless and is aiming at the rock better and definitely misses Captain Sear.
Yeah.
So I change my mind. I send Brown 5 straighting. I 1 hard Green and don't change Pink's dial.
Ooh, okay, that's close.
So here is a thing. When you make a decision for your list and then look back and change, make sure you check all of the dials you've set so that any changes, because my assumption here is that green is going to be nowhere near where pink is going to be when pink moves. However,
see,
I won.
The moment you said that, 1 bank, and then I was looking at 1 hard and the 2 bank, like, yeesh.
So what green was originally going to do was like 5 straight claim the objective on the far right. That's what I instead did with brown, because I just thought that that's a much better position for brown to be, and pink can just turn onto the rock and be happy.
I mean, interestingly, I thought you would have hard 2'd onto the rock anyway, as opposed to the bank.
So what this was is I was trying to catch. I wasn't 100% sure at the time how many people were going to end up on the rock because everyone's turning in. Like I said, at the time I set pink style, green was going to be long gone, and red and blue were turning up. And so what I want to do was just make sure I catch either Chewie or possibly Poe if Poe goes up.
So before you go on with the rest of your ships. Like, we look at that and we can tell that pink's going to bump with a 2-bank.
Yeah.
And you red and blue. I'm assuming red's doing a 1 hard.
I believe red's doing a 1 hard, and I think blue might be doing a 3.
See, now if it's me, I'm hoping you move red first, so that red still gets an action and doesn't. Because I think if you bump pink into green, you'll bump red into pink.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do move pink last. I think.
Fair.
We'll find out in a second, though. So yeah, so I do here we go. I do the 2-bank with my yellow drone, trying to block a 2 hard from Chewie because I just wasn't 100% sure.
I'm assuming
the
a
2 hard
2-bank
barrel roll is white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
I wasn't 100% sure I could get it, basically. So I thought the 2-bank puts... I do move pink first. Oh dear. Anyway, pink bumps are into my ship on the rock. Luckily for Vulture droids, I can still flip struts.
I was going to say, struts execute, aren't they? Not fully execute.
Yeah. I roll a damage. I roll a dice, take no damage, and I bump the red drone into the back of pink. Roll a dice, take a damage. So this could have been the ultimate turning point, where I had completely bollocked everything.
But you got away with it with 1 damage.
Yeah, pretty much. I did a 1 hard with my blue drone. And then I just calculate because I'm thinking, I need some calculates for these 2 idiots in front of me. So Kaz does a 3 straight and slams a Talon roll. So here's the interesting thing: is I'm pretty sure I have to choose where the Discord missile goes before Jon decides to take the disarm or not. So I chose the back because I didn't want to risk him just trying to shoot the Buzz droid, and I was going to go for the guaranteed damage.
Okay.
And then he removes his disarm, and I was like, okay, cool. But interesting thing is, I believe I placed the thing first, so I didn't know if he was going to be disarmed at the end of it. I mean, I assumed he wasn't going to be disarmed. But I wanted to make sure.
Have to have a look on the wording of that.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that the buzz droids are after you overlap.
Yeah.
So overlapping is part of the maneuver. So we'd slot in before.
After the execute maneuver.
Yeah, because obviously the explosion with wings is after you perform a slam action. So you'd complete the action. And the overlap is part of that?
I believe so.
In the same sense that, like, when you call Cellar over a debris, you complete the debris bit first.
And then you call Cellar.
And then you call Cellar. It's after. And then you action, so...
Yeah. And then Chewie does a 2 hard and bumps into my stressed and weapons failured Vulture droid, chilling in the middle of the board. And Chewie does take a red focus, because why not?
Yeah, you've got good space for the blues for the next turn.
And I horribly miscall where Poe's going. In fact, I leave him the most gigantic gap he could possibly have wanted. Yeah, he does a 3 hard into... He does a 3 hard into me and has pretty much dodged every shot except for 1, I think.
Has he dodged... But have you dodged his shots as well, looking at that?
I can't remember exactly what he does, but I believe... Because Poe is still stressed at this point.
So it's still... Interestingly, I think a 3 hard from blue might have blocked that.
Yeah. The irony being a 3 hard probably would have blocked it. So Poe is still stressed, has no action, does have a range 1 shot into my Vulture droid, who still has a Discord missile, but cannot fire it at anyone. I'm not quite sure what that...
Are you sure he has a range 1 shot?
Maybe he doesn't. I thought he did. I thought he did have a range 1 shot.
I didn't see
Looks like he's gone... Looks like he's gone over to Kaz, range 1 into a Vulture droid. He rolls 3 hits. I roll 2 blanks. DFS 081 is dead. No more thread traces.
Well, that'll teach you for self-bumping.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, honestly, I don't think it would have helped I rolled.
Well, alright, fine.
I was going to be about there regardless. Then Chewie, I can't remember. I think he goes... Who does he go into? Looks like he goes range 2 into a Vulture droid, the one that has a bullseye on him. So Captain Sear is online. He gets hit, focus blank, and raise and focuses for 3 hits. So I obviously roll 2 evades and make it feel very sad. take a single damage onto the Vulture Droid. Then I just start shooting. He must not be. No wait, I think I rolled 1 dice. So I
You
start
did
shooting into
roll one
Chewbacca.
dice.
And my dice are kind of on fire, as the usual was saying. That hit, crit, 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 hit. None of these are modded, by the way. Then Captain Sear, hit, focus, blank, because of course Captain Sear rolls terrible.
I mean, that's average.
Yeah, but it's terrible for how the game is going. Anyway, I've put 3 hull onto Chewie so far.
I mean, that doesn't sound that terrible to me. If you've gone through the shield and 3 hull damage.
Yeah, like I said, the vultures were doing amazing. Captain Sear was just like, I fire toffee! And then I put a crit through onto Kaz, and that's it, pretty much.
But interestingly, you can like virtually ignore Poe this turn.
Yeah, I go all in on Chewie this turn. It's 9-8 to me.
Although a 2 hard to the left might set him up on Brown.
Yeah. So I was actually afraid of that. So Brown does rotate to try and catch Poe.
I mean, it's what I would have done with it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a rotate to the left and up is going to catch anyone, because Chewie's going to move away from that. Can you remember what crit Kaz takes at the end of?
No, I can't. From what I remember, I don't think the crits actually came like really mattered.
But Kaz is down to 3, right?
Yes.
So his ability's offline on everyone now. Or is it equal to? I can never remember.
It's equal to as well.
Okay, so he's still got his ability against the 3s then.
Yeah. I want to say one of the crits he flipped up was you could only focus at some point, but I literally don't remember.
I mean, I feel like damage sensor array is reasonably important.
I honestly don't remember what crit he has. Like I don't remember them mattering, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
But anyway, back to the game, because the game is moving on. I got priority. Like I said, it doesn't matter. Captain Sear does a 2-bank and focuses in the vague hope that Chewie will still be there. The Vulture Droid that caused the bump now does 2 hard to clear the stress, and he's just going to calculate. And then my Blue Vulture Droid, the one that almost got shot by Poe, just does a 2-bank and calculate, again, just trying to catch Chewbacca. I believe all the vultures on the rocks just rotate. Everyone's still stressed. Oh yes, 2 of my vultures now have notorious charges because they shot at Chewbacca.
Makes sense.
That's why he shot at the. That's why he's now going to start shooting at vultures. He did lament that. I should have remembered. I should have tried to strain Captain Sear, because that would make Chewie shooting Captain Sear a lot more nice.
Yeah.
But basically, all the vultures rotate so they can keep pointing at Chewie, because Chewie's probably going forwards.
Interesting choice to rotate green. I think I might have kept him facing up.
Like maybe I rotated him because I thought Chewie's going fast, and I was like, but if I don't get that, Kaz is right there, so let's.
Well, that's true. Actually, that's true.
And then I rotate the Vulture Droid on the far right hand rock, near the far right objective, down, because if Poe does a 2 hard, maybe I can catch him. Like, it's pretty optimistic. But
I wasn't worried about catching him. I'd be more worried about surviving.
Yeah. So Kaz does a 2 straight and bumps into a Vulture Droid. Clears the stress and takes a red focus. Chewie does a 1 straight. Yeah, does a 1 straight and is happily in front of my swarm.
I mean, that's probably a dead Chewie. But he may well take 2 droids with him.
Yeah, he gets a focus. And then Poe does a 2-bank to the left. So has placed himself in my Vulture's arc and currently can't shoot the Vulture.
I think you barrel roll to the right and back.
Oh, wait, no, yeah. So he said he meant to do to the right, and so I said just undo it and go, because to me it looks pretty clear that you didn't intend to just land in front of the Vulture Droid.
That's fair.
So he undoes it, flips it around, and I was like, this makes a lot more sense of what Poe is going to do. I believe he target locks and then possibly boosts, but I think it may be just a target lock. Yeah, just target locks a Vulture Droid. Poe has no shot. I attempt to launch my last Discord missile at Chewie, but missed by a country mile.
I mean, yeah, that is a fair miss.
I was like, maybe, because my mind was thinking, oh, the arc is left to right, and Chewie doesn't have many ways of getting rid of it. So if I can just land it on him,
Yeah.
were golden.
Interestingly, I think if I'm Chewy, I'd probably consider shooting blue anyway. I know the other two have strains, so you're getting the re-rolls, but they're also obstructed. So
Yeah. So
and
he shoots range 1 unobstructed into pink, it turns out.
oh, okay, fair. All right, I'll keep.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, this is Kaz's proton.
I was
This is
about to
Kaz's
say,
proton rocket.
why is he rolling 5 dice?
Kaz's proton rocket into a strained pink vulture. He
Okay.
rolls 4 hits and a 3 hits, a blank, and a focus. Predators the blank into a hit for 4 hits, and so I say, yes, I'm dead. I roll a blank and take 4 damage. The vulture droid down.
Okay.
10-9 to John. Still I4 though, so that calculator is around for the taking. It does have range 1 obstructed into the other strained vulture, or range 1 unobstructed into an unstrained vulture. So here's the interesting thing: is the strained vulture has taken a damage, so is
right.
in theory easier to kill.
If it's range 1, I go into the strained one because that strain gives him a reroll.
Yeah.
If it wasn't range 1.
Yeah. So it goes into the obstructed strained. Gets 2 hits, a crit, and a focus. So sadly cannot reroll the focus because Notorious is blanks only.
But he's got a force, right? Just spend the force.
And I believe he spends the force.
Yeah, you just guarantee it there.
Spends the focus even. He spends the focus instead of the force. Because on a 1 agility ship, focus and force.
Yeah.
And the force can be raid.
Yeah.
Whereas that can't. I roll my dice and I get believe I get calculate evade, so I spend it and die, I believe is what happens here, because I'm dead anyway. Because hit crit onto a 2-hull ship. So 2 vultures down.
Okay.
12-9. Ouch.
Yeah.
But not unexpected. I believe I then have a range 2 shot, hilariously. If you're looking at this from the top down, that doesn't look like it should be range 2. It is in fact range 2. Into Chewbacca. I roll 2 hits out of hand, and Chewie rolls a blank, which he forces to an evade, so 1 damage onto Chewie. Then Captain Sear, range 1 into Chewbacca, rolls 3 hits and a focus, spends the calculate, I think I took, to have 4 hits, and Chewie rolls a blank, and I put 4 damage into Chewie, and Chewie's dead.
Yes, Sear rolls when it counts.
Sear rolls hot when he needs to.
Okay. So, alright, yeah, you lost the 2 droids, but Chewie will get to bonus, right?
Yeah, Chewie gets his action and attack, and
so
he target locks the vulture droid.
Yeah.
Rolls 4 blanks into 2 hits, a crit, and a focus. I roll my because I let him notorious me. Roll my strained vulture for 1 hit, which means 1 evade, which means I take hit crit, and I don't die. It's a panic pilot.
Okay.
So that is some points to me. So I go up to 15-12. Then I get 3 more points. 19-12. 15-12? I must have not added. I'm at 19 because Chewie's like 7, isn't he?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was at 9 points. Add 10 points for the round. 19-12. John realizes he can't actually win. He'd need a miracle.
He'd need to kill every single ship.
Well, he'd need to simultaneously claim like two of the objectives and kill several ships.
If he kills all your ships,
yeah,
he scored 3 objective points total.
Yeah.
If he killed your entire list, he'd win by a point.
Unfortunately, 2 attacks does not kill 4 ships.
Well, I know that, but
yeah. And so we come to the end, and we just call it there.
That's
and
fair.
For the sake of score for the league, we sort of play out the round as if no one died, and I score 3 points and I won. As in score wise, we just and now in the video we're into what could possibly have happened, and I stopped recording because we started discussing where I said earlier, John feels like his biggest mistake was barrel rolling Poe in and committing to going into the centre of the board.
Yeah, and I to be honest, I think that's a correct call. But no, an interesting game.
Yeah, I like the Sis one. Like, I feel like its strengths and weaknesses were both shown in this game. Like, sometimes vultures just die, but you can when you roll a lot of 2 dice shots, eventually it gets through.
Well, that's it, isn't it? They plink a damage through, but when you're plinking it through 4, 5, 6 times.
Yeah. And I feel like the chaff. I feel like I didn't get to use it this game, and I haven't actually used the chaff cloud at all whilst playing this list. Because I played it on Thursday, to our weekly meetup. But I feel like the chaff cloud is a really interesting equalizer because you basically are able to buy a turn where it's like, I have mods and you probably don't.
Yeah.
And when it's a network calculation Kraken swarm, I'm gonna have a lot of calculates if I've set it up right.
Yeah.
At least that is the plan. But that's where we're at. And this is my new spice of life. I actually like the droid swarm again. I'm having fun.
Cool. I shall expect to play against it soon then.
I imagine you will. The question is the 2 upgraded Separatist droids, do I leave them there just to match initiative, or do I go down to Howard Charles and give them energy shells? I feel like that's probably a bad idea. I think being at all life 3 is probably the best.
I think being all at the same initiative is probably the best. However, I think it's worth testing, and also a counterpoint. If you go to I1 and
I lose all the discords.
what?
Wait, do you mean I1 with everyone, or I1 with
No,
the
no,
two?
no. I1 with the 2 singles, because you said they can have shells, right?
Yeah, the Howard Charles can have energy shells.
So that'll
or
give them a
ion
punch.
missiles.
But it also means what you can do is place them in front of Seer.
Yes.
And then you're not having to worry about getting your droids out the way because they're going to move in front of Seer.
True. That is
so
true.
You have those as not, think of it as half your formation, and then your other half your formation, and they're moving in 2 blocks rather than 1 block. Try and keep them together. But yeah, I would suggest that's worth a playtest for sure.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't automatically do it was because I've tried having 2 Howard Charles and 2 Separatist drones with discords, and it always felt like the I1s they never ever got to do anything, because by the time it got to them, they never had the calculate to fire their shells, and so I was like, well, they may as well just be I3.
Well, that's true as well.
Yeah. Admittedly, this was a time when I wasn't worried about having to lead Captain Sear. This was like pre-Vizsla, and being I3 matched with pre-Vizsla, which was really useful.
Yeah. As I say, I think it's worth a playtest.
I mean, there is a world where I give them ion missiles, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what thread tracers are there for a reason.
Yeah.
And when it's a Howard Charl, their pilot ability is an enemy in your bullseye. If they shoot someone else, you can take a target lock or calculate action. So they don't have to rely on getting into range 3 and taking target locks as much.
Yeah.
But that is food for thought and planning and gaming and whatever later. Not really for here.
Okay. Right, before we head disappear, there are some announcements this week.
Dun 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 dun.
If you don't live in the southwest, now would be the time to tune out, because the rest of it is largely going to be irrelevant for you. That is the southwest of the United Kingdom for any of our listeners abroad. Of Twitch, I know there are a few.
Ooh.
But
getting places.
onto the juicy stuff. Tin Squadron will be hosting their second store event on the 12th of November. I will double check that. Announcements will be coming on our Facebook pages and social media soon. It will be in Truro in Cornwall. So if you do live in the southwest and that is within semi-reasonable distance, come down. If it's far away, come down anyway. So we're doing something a little bit different. We're doing the duos format. So for anyone who hasn't heard of that, it's quite interesting, and I'm looking forward to playing it. Basically, you build a squad to 13 points, and then every round you're paired with somebody else, and you play basically 2 against 2, a 26-point match. All abilities, all friendly ship abilities work with your opponent regardless of faction. So there's some interesting
So my
interesting
network
combinations.
calculations can steal your calculates.
Yes, yes,
if
it
you
can.
have them.
Um,
And I do believe it requires your permission.
I also believe that Sam and I worked out if you get paired up with the right people, you could bring a 12 ship list. Someone brings six vultures, and someone brings 6 TIE fighters.
Hell yeah. Well, no, just 6 more vultures.
Or 6 more vultures. 12 vultures. But yeah,
you can go full Trade Federation.
But yeah, so yeah, 12th of November, down in Truro. We will, as I say, do some announcements. There will be prize support, as always. We've got all art cards, we've got tokens, we've got some of the holocron objective markers. What else have we got?
We've got... that it's extended?
No, I have not. But before we get to that, we have some Tin Squadron wanted posters. They will be fun. But yeah, it will be extended format, so it's a chance to break out all those ships you don't normally get to fly. It will. I'm trying to think of the right word. Let's go with follow the ban and restricted list. So anything on that list will still be illegal. But extended ships will be legal. Don't think any upgrades are extended, are they? It's just the ships specifically.
It's just ships. I'd have to look it up.
I believe it's just the ships. But yeah, so that's that. Hopefully we'll see a few of you guys down. Will be fun.
Yeah. If nothing else, this is going to be a great big laugh. And to anyone who gets paired up with me, if you do come down, I'm probably going to be running some form of ridiculous vulture swarm.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Fair warning.
I will either run something with a large number of ships or 2 big ships. I haven't made up my mind. There is no limit on ship numbers. Namely because you can't fit more than 6. So.
Some auto-blasting vultures? That'll be fun.
No, I believe Autoblasters is on the banned list.
Damn.
Come on, you can't have too much fun.
Heavy laser cannons it is.
I still like the idea of someone running around with some droids and someone running around with Palp in a shuttle going, "You've got the Force!"
Yes, let's do this. Or Leia.
or Leia.
Wait, Kanan.
Oh, God. Hang on. I'm working on Palp. Palp is... If another... No. Would Palp work on Kanan? I'd have to have a look at the word.
I was thinking of the Kanan ability where it's when a friendly ship gets attacked, you can spend a Force to reduce the attack dice or something.
Yeah. It's got to be in your arc, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it should be a good laugh. It should be fun. So I am looking forward to that.
I am very much looking forward to it.
Yeah.
5 vultures, easy peasy, done.
No, 6.
I've got 3 precise hunters with ion cannons, so they're taking up space.
Tough. Oh, are the flax extended legal? They must be, right? Because there's no.
I mean, they're extended, but I'm not sure if they're legal because they've got dial-looking stuff.
Are there ships on the banned list as well? I really should look at the banned list.
I'd assume so.
I know there's upgrades because obviously like Sloane's on.
Because technically, Flak Fox should be standard legal, so I assume they're just banned.
Oh well, maybe. But we'll look into that. So yeah, I think that wraps it up for this week. So thanks everyone for listening and watching. We will be back next week with some games. Don't know who it'll be yet. Yeah, we'll see you guys around.
Yeah, ta-ta.
Bye.